All right, this is Bekah wedging. What are you wedging that for?
To go on the wheel.
Yeah?
Oh,
Well,
get out air bubbles.
yeah, get all the air bubbles out. How much clay is that?
2 pounds.
Why not 3 pounds?
Because I haven't thrown in a while, and so I don't want to overwhelm and stuff.
Is 2 pounds a good weight to start off with?
I think
If you were telling another student how to wedge or how to throw, why would you tell them 2 pounds as opposed to 4, 5, 6 pounds?
so. Because the more amount of clay you get, the harder it is to wedge. You won't technically get all the air bubbles out.
Okay. How many times are you wedging that?
7 times.
Okay. And that little switch she's fooling around with is the directional switch. It'll switch the direction of the wheel. Do you like yours going counterclockwise?
Yeah.
Okay. All I want you worried about is when I ask you questions is just answer the way you would do it. Don't worry about necessarily telling other students how I do it, but what you've done and what works for you. You can see she's got her right hand locked into her hip. That helps her center it. And then she's got the down pressure with her right hand. She's able to put a little bit more down pressure on it, keeping that elbow out. Something I'm assuming works really well for her. You can see when she comes off of the clay, she comes off nice and easy, and it ends up staying centered. Do you have any advice for students about centering? What's one thing you really pay attention to when you center?
Keeping my head, my elbow on my head.
Okay.
It's good support and I don't know, gives you like more strength.
Okay.
So it's not fun.
Anything else you pay attention to besides that?
How I keep my hands.
How do you keep your hands?
I keep one on the side and one on top, just because it's easy. I don't know, it's nice to be able to shape it how you want.
Okay.
Some people do it in a cone. I like mine to be like flatter on top. So.
Okay. There she's centering. You can see she's got both hands on her clay. That helps her get an understanding for how thick the clay is, and she puts one thumb in, fills that hole with water, and now she's squeezing her thumb to open it. You can see the wheel speed is going. How would you say, how fast is the wheel going?
Not probably the medium speed.
Okay.
Not super fast, just fast enough to where you can control it.
When you opened it, what were you doing with your thumb? Can you show anybody who's watching this what you're doing with that thumb?
I have this hand on the side just to make sure it stays centered. So put
Yep.
pressure on the side. And then this one, I just kind of like slowly just move your thumb out and you kind of form it with the hand.
Okay.
So it makes a circle.
This is where she's starting to pull. She pushes that sponge into the outside of the piece of clay and uses her inside fingers as a brace, and she comes up nice and consistent. How slow she's going to come off that top, just to make sure it stays centered. Second pull starts all the way at the bottom again, pushes in a little bit. Are you compressing the lip when you come to the top? Why do you do that?
Just to make sure it doesn't crack. Or keep
Okay.
it thin.
When you compress the lip, different people are going to do it differently. If you watch the other two videos of Steve Engren and Levi Listrom, they compress their lip just a little bit differently than what Bekah's doing. Neither one is wrong. All three of them are good. They just hold their hands a little bit differently and what feels comfortable to them. Is that right, Bekah? When you compress the lip, is it kind of like your own deal when you compress it? How do you compress it? Is there a way you can describe that?
When you're bringing your hands up and you get to the point where you can bring this finger up without messing up what
Your pull?
Your pull.
Yep.
You just kind of keep like a steady pressure on it, not pushing super hard, but not so light that it's not doing anything.
Okay. Bekah likes to use a rib when she forms her pieces on the wheel. Gives it a nice clean look on the inside. It's rounded. What you don't notice right now is the bottom of her right hand. Her two bottom fingers are relatively tight around that form, where her thumb and top two fingers are a little loose, but that rib is pushed tight into her hand. And that's where you get the bowl form, because the clay takes the form of your hand, or her cupped hand. What are you doing there?
I'm not very good at the rib, so it kind of cuts into the bottom. And so when it does that, I just use my sponge and I smooth it out, and then that helps me kind of push out the bottom more,
Okay.
which I would really do.
Another thing that allows Bekah to do is it compresses the bottom. It makes the bottom nice and tight, just like the lip. So therefore, her bottom won't crack as it dries out. She is undercutting the bottom of the bowl, getting rid of some of that excess thickness. And that is dang near textbook perfect of the way you do it. She's got both hands on that wood tool. She's holding it nice and firm. If you hold it loose, it'll dig into the clay and rip it right out of your hand. She does a very good job of using that tool. And she's got a nice bowl. Can you show us how you cut it off? I'll just kind of follow her because she's going to bring some tools over that she'll need for that. A wire cutter that she's grabbing right now. Pot lifters. And a board. See how she turned that wheel off? I've unfortunately made that mistake. I'll step on the gas pedal as I go to cut my piece off. Uses her thumbs to hold the wire down on the wheel. Puts the pot lifters underneath. And it's good. And she's got a very nice bowl. And we'll pick up next week when she trims it.